Alright, so here we are back at episode 2 of the Absolute Beginner's Guide to Farming Simulator 19. So now that we got kind of the boring thing out of the way, and I know that was kind of a long video just talking about the menus and the tabs on the pause screen, but you know what? If it helped one person, then it was worth doing the video, guys. That's how I feel about it. But today we're going to actually get into the meat and potatoes of the game. We're actually going to get into some of the fun stuff. So in today's video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at, now you're on the farm, what do you do to start, and we're going to discuss taking care of your fields. Hopefully I'll get all this into one video. Again, I don't know. I know I keep saying that I don't want the videos to be long, but they end up being long. I'm not sure if I wanted to just go over one or two things and then finish another video. To keep it short, we may just do that. So I would say the first thing you do is when you get on a new map, you want to check your equipment to see what equipment you have. So you're going to go into your shop menu, which on PS4 you're going to press the touchpad button, and you bring up the store menu. When you're in here, you're going to press the triangle, and it'll bring up your garage, and it'll show you the equipment that you have. Now, the one thing that is different on here, I actually had to buy a plow because you don't get a plow with this because the fields... I forgot that this is the beginner map. This is the map they want you to start on, and the fields don't need to be plowed the first time. They kind of skip that. So I did buy a plow because I do want to go over that. I do want to show every aspect of taking care of your field. So this Agromaz plow, this does not come when you first start the game. I bought this. This isn't the equipment that's included. Everything else that you see is. You get a cultivator, you get a seeder, a couple weights, and these are the buildings that you get. All pretty much standard things. Now, as someone that's been playing the game a long time, what I would do when I first start a map is I pretty much sell all of the equipment. Everything that they give me on the map, I normally sell, and I'll get my own things. But if you're just starting out and you've never played the game, you don't know anything about farming or farming simulator, then I would say just keep the equipment that you have and work with that first until you get used to it, and then you can start getting into the different equipment and such. So with that being said, another thing that I normally do when I start a map, and let's go into the menu screen, and right here you get into the selling points and the prices, and as you can see, the top number highlighted in gold, I guess, those are crops that we have in our silo. So we have pretty much every crop up to corn, including corn, I'm sorry. The only thing we don't have are potatoes and sugar beets, cotton, sugarcane, stuff like that, and of course things that have to do with the animals. But all of the other cereal and grain crops we have, and what I would normally do is I would take them, I would get a tipper trailer, and I would load them up, and I would sell all that. We'll be looking at that in a different video, how to load up and sell stuff like that. But again, this video is going to be mostly about taking care of your fields, and this by far is probably the most fun part of the game, is actually doing the farm work. So what we're going to do, we're going to hop in our case tractor here, and as you can see, the minute I got in it, it started up. I haven't changed that. So the minute you get in the tractor, it starts on its own. When I get out, it shuts off. I didn't change that, just for the purposes of this video. So what we're going to do first is we're going to hook up to this weight. And here's one of the things that's kind of interesting, is that in the tutorials and everything in the game, they have you using a weight, all the time. Do I use a weight personally all the time? No, I don't. I usually only use a weight when I'm lifting bales, and I'll put a weight on the back just for a little counterbalance. Now, I'm sure a weight in the front when you're plowing probably does give you better traction. I'm not going to say it doesn't, but yeah, I just don't normally use it. And again, there's no right or wrong way to play this game, guys. It's really not. There's some things that you can do that you have to kind of follow steps, but it's not imperative. Like, for one, if you're going to plow, if you have to plow, I would plow first, because there's no sense in cultivating and then plowing, because you can't plant in a plowed state unless you have a drill, a seed drill. And if you have a seed drill, then you don't really have to cultivate anyway. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about all the steps to do to get your field ready. So generally what you're going to do is you're going to plow your field, and this is how I do it. You're going to generally plow your field, then spread lime. Then what I normally do is cultivate. Then it depending on the seeder I have. If I have a seeder that fertilizes as well, obviously I'll just seed and it'll fertilize as you go. But if I don't have a seeder that fertilizes, I will spread my fertilizer. Then I will seed. And then at some point in the growth, probably towards the second growth stage, I'll fertilize again, and that'll be my second fertilization stage. And then when it's ready, it gets harvested, which you see the field next to me, that's ready to be harvested. So the first thing we're going to do is show you how to plow. So as you can see, I got the plow in the back, and if I press L1, the control menu is now showing me the controls for the plow. You'll see it says fold plow, lower plow, turn plow, allow create fields, and then it's just to toggle the map size. So, very important is the allow create fields, okay? Because this is a little bit confusing, I feel. So as of right now, if I go over here into this patch of grass here, and I'm going to lower the plow, and as you can see, it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything. But if I go into the field, like so, kind of square up, and drop the plow, as you can see, it's now plowing the field. So essentially, when it says allow create fields, that means it's in, how do I explain this? It's in plow only mode. So in other words, it'll only plow fields. It won't plow outside of fields. Now, let's raise that up. Now if I hold L1 and I tap triangle, now you'll see it says limit to fields. So now it's essentially in create a field mode. So now if I go over here to the grass and I drop the plow, it's giving me plow texture on the grass. So now if I wanted to, I could make a field here in the middle, or I could join these two fields together. So you got to remember, if you don't want to make fields, make sure that when you hit the L1, make sure that says allow create fields, because when that says that, the plow is essentially in the mode to only plow a designated field. And I know that seems confusing, because I thought it was too, but that's just the way they worded it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first pass, and don't worry guys, I'm not gonna have you sit through me plowing this entire field. That would be just insanity. So now we'll go to the end. Now, depending on how the field's set up and how much room you have, you can decide to do the headlands if you want. So basically the headlands are just the outline of the field. Alright, so if I was going to do the headlands, I would do that pass, then I would go up here, and then I would plow this way, then back down that way, and then over again. And depending on the field setup, I might do this 2 or 3 times. But considering that I have a lot of room to turn around here, we won't do that. Now also, now that I'm turning around, you're going to want to turn your plow. L1, press the square, and you can see the plow's turning. There we go. And now it'll match the side you just plowed previously. So that in a nutshell is plowing, guys, and this is generally going to be the first thing you're going to want to do to your fields in most maps. And I really want to say, whether you have periodic plowing on or not, you have to plow at least the first time. Now, if you don't have periodic plowing on, that's it. That's the only time you'll ever have to plow. And also, even if you have periodic plowing on, you only have to plow after you've harvested corn, potatoes, sugar beets, and sugarcane. Those are the only times you'll have to plow. With all of your other cereal and grain crops, you have to you plow it once, and you don't have to do it anymore. So, with that being said, I'm going to finish up doing what I'm doing here. And the next time I see you guys, I think it'll be ready to spread our lime. Alright guys, so looking in our inventory, we don't have a lime spreader. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up the store's menu, and we're going to buy a lime spreader. So, it'll be under tools, and it should be under fertilizer technology right here. So as you can see, when you start the game, this is the base game, no mods, this is what you get. This is a fertilizer spreader. This cannot spread lime. These two can spread fertilizer and lime. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab one of these. And as you can see in the store, there's options. There's options that you can have for each of these items. And for this one, right now, it holds 9,000 liters of lime or fertilizer. Okay, so now we can get an extension for it. So now it's a small extension, and it holds 11,000 liters, 14,000 with the big. So we'll probably just do the 9,000 for now. Wheel setup, narrow tires, standard. And again, the narrow tires, if you don't know, if you have crop destruction on, you're going to want to use your narrow tires when going through crops, because narrow tires won't hurt your crops. If you go through your crops with these on, it's going to crush them. And spreading discs. Right now it'll throw 12 meters with the spreading discs on. It's a 6-meter spreading unit, and now it'll go 18 meters. So we might actually go with that. So we're just going to buy that. So now we have to go up to the store to pick that up. And I'll see you guys when it's time to spread the lime. There she is, your brand new lime fertilizer spreader. Isn't she beautiful? But it don't come full. As you can see, it's very much empty. Why did that hook up? Come on. There we go. So yeah, it's very much empty. So you may be thinking to yourself, how do I fill it? Well, you have two options. The first option, we go to the map, and let's see here. We are right here. So option A is that we can take this and we can drive all the way to the lime station, and we can fill it up here. Or, since we're already at the shop, right, we could just go into the shop menu, scroll over to objects, and check out the big bags. And we could buy big bags of lime, 450 bucks, and you get 2,000 liters. So we'll get a couple of these. That should be enough. And zoom out a little bit. And as you can see, with the help window on, it says L3 refill fertilizer spreader. So you're going to click L3. And as you can see in the lower right hand corner, it is filling up with lime. Now what you're going to have to do is position it so it's near the bags. So you'll see that little prompt pop back up where it says refill fertilizer spreader. We're going to do that until all these bags are gone. Now when one of those bags empties, you will have to click L3 each time. It won't just keep filling from each continuous bag. Another thing I want to go over really quick, because it's not in the controls menu, is that when you press R1, it says honk and it says unload. But if you press R1 in circle, that turns your lights on and it cycles your lights. So that's your lights, your back work light, your high beams, and off. Now, with R1 still held down, if you press left on the D-pad, you get your left turn signal. Left on the D-pad will shut it off. Right on the D-pad, your right turn signal, and again, if you press right again, it'll shut it off. If you press up on the D-pad, your beacons come on. Now, on console, there's no way to get hazard lights or four-way flashers. On PS4, if you have the Cytec side panel or the Logitech side panel, I think it is now, because that does work on PlayStation 4, you can get the hazards to work. Unfortunately, that does not work on Xbox. So I'm sorry to all you Xbox users, but the side panel does not work on Xbox. Alright, it looks like our worker is just about done plowing this field. And yes, I did put a worker on it because I didn't feel like doing the whole field. And we'll discuss workers on a different video. But now we're ready to lay down the lime on the field. So, what we're going to do, pull up to the field. With L1 pressed down, we're going to unfold the fertilizer spreader. And this doesn't need to be lowered because you have the discs on it. So all you have to do is turn it on and go. So as you can see, it leaves that white lime all over the field. And basically what you're going to want to do is just go up and down the field until the whole field is covered. If you want to be a little neater about it, what you can do is when you get to the end here, shut it off, and you can square back up. Over here, turn it on, and then make sure you kind of don't get any misses with it like I did over there. But basically, you're just going to want to cover the whole field in lime. And what that pretty much does is the lime prevents you from having to plow. Now in FS19 we didn't have lime, so you would have to plow, I want to say every 3 harvests, just like it is with the lime. As of right now, you have to spread lime every 3 harvests, and with FS17 you had to plow every 3 harvests. So again, guys, we're just going to cover the field in lime. That's all we're going to do. Shut that off. And I will say that the lime doesn't go very far. Lime, it takes a lot of lime to do really big fields. But now, as you can see, well, it actually doesn't come up on this one for some reason, but you you'll get other ones where it will show that it's fully limed. And that is where I believe we're going to end this video, guys. And I really appreciate you sticking it out with me. I hope this is helping at least some people that are new to the game figure things out. I believe the next episode we're going to go into cultivating, fertilizing, and actually planting. And then after that, we'll be getting into my favorite job, and that's harvesting. So I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and we'll see you next time, guys.